number of years ago, when I first started putting together a sales series on video, I went down a number of different paths, and one of those paths was to put together 1-minute series of videos and a host of other forms of sales training projects. Now, in those early stages, I sat down with some of those videos with a friend of mine who'd just retired from selling after 50 years, and he was a really good salesperson. And we spent a couple of hours in a restaurant, in the corner of that restaurant, going through a number of videos. And the one thing that he concluded, he said, look, far too many things that salespeople need to know about are glossed over by their sales managers or the sales trainers. And because of that, most salespeople are left floundering. They have no idea where to go. If you look at the internet, the same thing happens. If you want to start talking about a professional image in sales, well, there's very little written about that, and most of that is academic also. So in order to help the salespeople, I'm going to start bringing in certain vital lots of information. And the very first is, a professional image is vital to your sales success. But here, I'll provide you on what you need to do in order to create a professional sales image. There are so many myths and misunderstandings in selling for one reason or another, and where they come from is anyone's guess. And here is one more of those things so many salespeople get wrong over and over when it comes to things vital in selling. And that's a professional image, because a professional image is not just vital to your success. It's one of the things you can do something about. And my suggestion is that you do something about it sooner rather than later. So there you have it. That was my initial 36-second introduction to a professional sales image. Now, there's a lot more that you need to know. And if you follow the processes I'm about to share with you, you'll be able to not only have a professional sales image in a very short space of time, but you'll be able to create it in such a way that everybody around you will notice it, because finally you'll have the steps that you need to take to create a professional sales image, because a professional image is vital to your sales success. So what exactly is a professional sales image? Well, a professional sales image is a combination of components that others see in you that include how you look, how you perform, what your values are, how you conduct yourself, what your reliability factor is, and your ethics. Now remember, it's what others see in you. So you as a person need to work on every one of those components in order to express exactly what others need to see. You also need to evaluate who you are, who you want to be, who are your role models, and what you base your image on, or who you base your image on. Every one of those factors are vital to your self-image. And let's bring in some housekeeping, because you need to start each day with a smile. In fact, get up in the morning, look at yourself in the mirror and smile. G'day, mate. Every call you make, you need to smile. Now, I learned a technique many years ago that I've passed on to a lot of people, and that is to create a smile that's hard to take off your face. You actually force the muscles to smile. So what I do is, before I walk into the premises or a reception area, I stand there and I bring out the biggest, cheesiest grin that I ever could. That's right, one where the ears could easily fall into the sides of your mouth. And while I'm doing that, I breathe in, hold the breath for 10 seconds. That's right, hold the breath for 10 seconds. And you know what? It's hard to get that smile off your face. Another thing is you need to make eye contact on a regular basis, but not just eye contact. Don't just look at their eyes. Look just below their eyes, otherwise you'll start to pierce. And while you're making that eye contact, if you're talking to them, make sure that your body is fully turned face onto them so that you're not halfway there or halfway off. That's important because once a person sees that you're giving them 100% of your attention, they'll start to take notice. Now, another thing a lot of salespeople don't do is they don't learn the person's names. Now, this business of saying, I have a bad memory, I'll need to write your names down, is absolute nonsense. Because if you need to write their names down because of your bad memory, if there are things that you don't write down during the call, it'll put doubt in their mind as to whether or not you're going to remember what you said you would. So don't do that. Don't start saying, I've got a bad memory, I need to write things down. It brings out the wrong message. Now, here's something else which is so important. You need to be appropriately as well as properly groomed. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, we all know that as a male, I should turn up in a business suit, preferably grey, blue, or black. That's what's expected of me. So if I turn up in a business suit, which is yellow, with flowers on the shoulders, flowers on the hips, do you think that that is appropriate for the situation that I'm working in as a salesperson? Of course not. So you need to be properly groomed. And the one thing that so many people don't take heed to is you need to be always approachable. That's right. Let people know that if they call you, you'll return that call as soon as you possibly can. Because if you don't do that, you're not approachable. And when they do leave a message, make sure that you return it within a specified period of time, not the next day or the day after, some hours or whenever possible during that day. The next is there are only 4 things that you need to know to be able to build your image and to create your brand. And the first is what people think of you. Now, once you can recognize what others think of you, you can actually build on that and work harder at making those people take notice of that one area. The second is how admired are you in your field? How admired are you among your peers and even your management? So crucial. The third is what qualities do other people like in you? That too is so important because if there are certain qualities that you find people are pulling back from, you can work at building those. And the best place to do that is either through a video or a mirror. And the fourth is, and this one is crucial, what qualities do you believe make a good leader? Now remember, you're dealing with leaders. Most of the time you're dealing with top-end managers or people that are decision makers. So they're leaders in their own right. And if you can then express the qualities of a leader, a good leader, they'll take notice and they'll want to keep doing business with you. That's how important your image and your brand is to other people. And it should be to you as well. And the final point I want to bring up is that confidence attracts success. That's right. Confidence attracts success because the more confident you are, generally, the more successful you will be either with that person or with that group. The other thing you need to know is that people form opinions the minute they meet with you. And certain university surveys will tell us that most opinions are formed within 3 to 5 minutes. Well, I'm one of those that believe that opinions are formed within the first 90 seconds or 2 minutes maximum. The reason why I say that is most corporations will spend a significant amount of time and money developing their brand. Sometimes it'll take years and years before they actually have a brand that people can relate to. Well, you don't have the money a corporate has, but you've got time on your hands. Invest it wisely in the way that you promote yourself. Build your brand based on the time that you have. Now, when it comes to money, there are ways that you can use your money wisely. Buy good quality clothes. They not only look good for a longer time, but they also send a message out that you've groomed properly. Your shoes are so important because I've been told in the past that when you meet somebody, the first thing they look at is your hair, and the second thing they look at are your shoes. So when it comes to haircuts, don't cut corners. Don't go for the cheap cuts. Spend time and get your hair properly groomed, whether you're a male or a female. It's so important. And the accessories that you use, again, make sure they're good quality. Wear a good quality watch, have a good quality handbag, all the other accessories that you need, including pens. Make sure they're not of the cheapest variety. And the last thing I want to pass on is never lose your individuality. While you're building this image, this aura that you want to present to other people, it's important that you remain the same person you were before. Stay that individual. And the only way that you can maintain that individuality is by the way you behave in front of others. Now, behavior is so important. You've got to remember everybody's taking notice of everything you do and say. And that's both in the public domain as well as privately.